The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, July 14th. Fist bumps, high fives. Woo! Happy Friday. Boston with the song More Than a Feeling, and I've got a feeling. Well, I've got a lot of feelings. It's summer. It's hot. Really humid yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, for the Twin Cities anyway, I found. And but it's one of those days when I'm walking around and I got a little sweat on the brow, a little warm, and I think to myself, thank God I'm kind of virtually hairless for the most part. I don't know if it's the Irish blood or because I know some hairy Irishmen, but I always said, oh, I'm Irish. I don't even know what the point is, but I mean where it comes from. But I'm grateful. It takes me a month and a half to grow a beard that's not even a real beard. The only hair I have is the hair on my head grows fast and it's thick and it's lush and God, man, what a head of hair. But the rest of my body, pretty much a hairless freak. And I really appreciate that in the hot, humid summer days because unlike my good friend Brian Zepp, I never have to contend with swamp crotch.
Oh, my God. Yeah, no. Well, first of all, my family has this, I don't know, we're super sweaters.
Yeah,
and my mom, all summer long, the only image I have of my mother is just wet hair. Her hair's always matted to her head.
That's a lovely thought.
I know. I'm
That's
like, Mom, go out west. Go up higher in elevation. It's very dry out there.
Walk up, woman. Walk up.
Oh, my God, she does. Oh, I was just out there for the 4th of July or, right about that time, that weekend before, and just hair just stuck to her head. So you'll only see me if I'm walking around in the summertime. I've got to shave it all off. My bikini line's got to go. I mean, it's all
really.
I shave it. You got to because otherwise, yesterday I was out at the golf range. I get home, it's like I crawled out of the pool rather. So you're a manscaper. I've got to, not except in the winter. In the winter,
I
let it shag out. Then it's a layer of much needed insulation.
I mean, a bear has to prep for hibernation.
Right.
So
exactly. Not for cosmetic reasons, just for clinical reasons.
Now, is this like a Mach 3 and some Edge gel, or is this a Norelco? How do you waxing? What do you manscape?
I don't get that pretty. Just I have a pair of trimmers, but as I learned with the trimmers, you need to put one of those little guards on, even just a number 1. To get it short. Don't go in there. The straight razor kind of deal.
You ever make a boo-boo?
Oh, yeah, several times.
Oh,
absolutely.
Honey boo-boo.
Yeah, a little nick here, a little nick there. I really try to. So I give it
a little nick?
Yeah, a little nick. That's what I call it. Little Nick. That's remember we went over nicknames? Mine's called Little Nick. Yeah, but swamp crotch is definitely a thing.
Swamp crotch is a thing. And we've all got crosses to bear. I've often found, I've always thought it was weird growing up the way we grew up. Let's just cut right to it. There's a story in the New York Post that says the trend this summer for the ladies is not to shave the bikini line. Oh. Women are going opposite Zepp's summer plan. Apparently, the new trend is just let the freak flag fly and let's kick it 70s style.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't necessarily have an opinion because it's not my body. I mean, do what you want to do. But I've always thought, like, when did it turn out? Why in the world did we just suddenly one day go, hey, ladies, shave everything? What started that? Because think about this. What's more alluring as a child of the 70s and 80s? What are you looking for in life at the pool? You're like, I wonder if anyone's got any a pubic hair sticking out anywhere. I mean, you see one pubic hair and you're like set for the day. Huh. And now I'm just telling you, that's how it is as a young lad. And then all of a sudden, one day, like overnight, they're like, nope, you got to get rid of it. And I've always thought, like, well, that's kind of weird, isn't it?
Where is it?
Yeah, if you need that, you're not the guy I'm going to be with. That's just,
So you're not concerned with that then. You're just au naturel.
Well, you must know.
It's summer and it's bikini time, so
it's not that weird. I can't shave because I am so sensitive, my skin.
Sure.
I thought you were going to say I'm not limber enough.
I thought you were going to say because you can't, when you stand in front of a mirror, nothing appears in the reflection because you're of your vampiric ways. Well, I mean, it's to your thank you for saying that because I always think like when you see people sometimes that are obviously shaving and then they have a reaction to the shave that's way more, it draws your eye more than if there was just a few stray curlies down there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I mean, now they have this reverse thong. Have you seen that? Just a couple of weeks ago, I saw there's a trend out there, the reverse thong. It's a thong in front as well. I mean, I'm just saying, there's a reason our eyes are drawn in that direction. Not walking around in bodysuits anymore.
Wait, hold on. I'm confused. What?
Go ahead and Google it. I don't have the story in front of me, but the reverse thong. In fact, I think it was last week. I might have emailed it, but the company may have intercepted it saying, "Oh, you can't be." But the reverse thong is a big fashion trend in some. Reverse thong bikinis. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, I'm just going to, you know what I'm going to do at the end of the day, like every day, I'm going to go to bed tonight, I'll drop to one knee, and I'll thank the great creator for giving me other concerns, not this particular one.
Yeah.
Shaving the bikini line, trendy, the ladies are leaving it behind, and just for the record, go girl, just do what you got to do. Yeah. I've never understood. All of a sudden, it was like no, and while we're here, let's talk about armpits.
Okay.
I've never had a concern when I see a woman with a hairy underarm, and I know guys who are literally grossed out by it. I'm like, you have the same thing.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It's a place where hair naturally grows. What sort of beauty standard are we trying to make happen here?
I'd be creative with it. Put some beads in there.
I'm looking at an image that I don't want to discuss on air. It's one that I believe Candace herself sent me. What am I looking at, Candace?
Oh, a few years ago at the state fair, I surprised everyone by wearing a hairy bikini to the broadcast under my clothes. It's basically a bikini that looks like a hairy man's chest.
Oh, my God.
I saw the
It's a one
pictures.
piece.
That's hilarious.
Okay, I mean, if this is theater of the mind, this is what they call radio. The curtain's going to go dark. We're dark stage in this one. We got to move on. The sight of Candace with an ultra hairy chest and rocking out like, yeah, what's up? The day is already turned. It's Friday.
So
can I get a break? It's Do this on Monday. Ruin my whole week. Don't ruin my weekend.
I'm going to bring it to Brainerd. We're all going to go in the hot tub together.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I've never so quickly turned on the concept of a road trip in my life.
I think
Please
it looks
don't.
good. It's just a little
don't.
too tan for my skin tone, but it
Okay,
works.
so
It is striking.
oh man, we gotta. There's hey, by the way, I just heard tonight, out at what do you call it, Prior Lake, you got Skinner and REO Speedwagon. Tomorrow night, Darius Rucker, Candace's buddy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, he's going to be.
Friends.
He is an old friend of mine. Darius is going to call in today at some point.
You want to keep him as a buddy. Do not text him this photo.
It seems like we have a sense of humor.
I might-
and if he doesn't, he's not the guy for me.
I
I
bet he's
might
hairy.
send him the photo and say, "Here is who's about to call your phone. Enjoy this."
Be prepared.
I'm giving her your number. Happy about that?
All right. When do we get to talk to Darius Rucker?
I think 8:30ish.
About 8:30ish?
We'll
All
lock
right.
it down. He's a busy man, but we'll confirm. It's time for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report because nothing is happening in Hollywood these days. No, like literally nothing. It's over. Close the barn door on the way out. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, and we start off with a quick reminder, today's National Macaroni and Cheese Day. You like macaroni and cheese?
Wow. What do I like? What kind of question is that?
I know, that's
what
crazy.
am I, an animal?
Yeah,
of
I'm
course I
crazy.
like macaroni and cheese.
And on Sunday, National Ice Cream Day. So there you go. Then okay, let's get to it. Let's get to the business.
Let's do it.
I had no idea yesterday when I predicted that it was just a matter of time before Disney would sell off its assets. And then just 7 hours later, Disney President Bob Iger announced that Disney would most likely be selling off, starting with his television interests in ABC TV.
Yeah.
And I guarantee this is just the beginning. It may take some time, but Disney will liquidate. And, I get to say, you heard it here first.
We certainly did. We heard Iger say that they're going to sell off their TV assets, and then I believe he also said that the Screen Actors and the writers' demands were unrealistic. But it's okay because he's a billionaire, so what does he know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then a few hours after that, Screen Actors Guild voted to strike, like both Steve and I said would happen. Yeah, and you're right, Hollywood is dead. And I'm thinking Mission Impossible, Barbie, and Oppenheimer will be the only blockbuster movies this summer.
Yeah, I saw that the Oppenheimer had their big the premiere in London, and in the middle of the event when the strike was called, all of the actors left.
It's amazing.
That's great,
Yeah.
fantastic. Stay the course, gentlemen and ladies.
You know what I'm worried about, though, Steve? I'm worried about if technicians join in, it may affect NFL football. I don't want to mess with the football, though. I mean,
I tell you what, if they do, that strike will end quick. No one's going to mess with the NFL.
You're probably right. Hey, speaking of Barbie, this is a strange one. Johnny Depp has had a huge collection of Barbie dolls ever since he was a kid. He first started collecting them when he started acting. He used to use them to prepare for his acting roles.
Now, Mike, these are women he's in relationships with. It's demeaning to call them Barbies.
Well, maybe you're right, yeah. Oh, by the way, speaking of the Barbie movie, this is interesting. Star Margot Robbie,
yeah.
Boy, she really got into it. She demanded that one day a week, all the cast and the crew, even the caterers, had to wear pink one day a week. And she checked to make sure that everybody was abiding by the rule. And if you were caught without wearing pink, you were fined, and all the money went to the Los Angeles Children's Hospital. But, boy, I mean, she really got into it.
Hey, man, you know what that is? That's team building and bonding and doing a good thing and having fun and trying to, I don't know, it's actually kind of weird.
Yeah, it is a little weird.
Yeah, don't make me wear pink. I'll wear pink if I want to wear pink.
Yeah. Here is a very strange nugget, but Halle Berry, Jim Carrey, Jennifer Lopez, Sylvester Stallone, Hilary Swank, Kelly Clarkson, and Tyler Perry, all of these stars at one time.
All have 6 toes on each foot.
Nope.
No.
Mm.
Damn.
They were all homeless.
Really?
No, had no money at all. A couple of them lived in shelters for a very short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Others lived with friends and couldn't pay for while they stayed with friends. But of course, this is when they were all young. All of them admit that they were homeless at one time.
If staying on someone's couch for a few months means you're homeless, hell, I've been there.
Oh,
I never occurred to me I was homeless. I was just didn't have a dollar and needed to crash on someone's couch.
Didn't have a home.
Guess it's all in the framing.
Kevin Spacey's trial could end later today in London. The Telegraph and the Sun newspapers both say that they believe that Spacey will be found guilty. Meanwhile, Spacey took the stand, Steve. I don't know. He gets on the stand. He starts making jokes. He says, I'm just a big flirt. I'm a romantic at heart. Nothing happens. No big deal. It doesn't sound like a real good defense to me. What about you?
No, I don't think that's I don't think that's a good defense at all.
I don't think that's a good defense.
No, he's probably getting great advice, and he's probably ignoring all of it.
Yeah, probably so. Ego, party of one.
Yeah.
And let's end with a really crazy question. I love it. My favorite question of the day. Other than racehorses, what is the most expensive animal an actor has ever bought, saying he thought it would help his acting?
I think I know this. It's one of those poisonous tree frogs, and Marlon Brando bought it, but then no, I have no idea. No clue. Probably a tiger, a Bengal tiger, or a cobra.
Nicolas Cage paid $240,000 for a live octopus. And he said watching it move, he thought would help his acting. And I don't make this stuff up, folks. Nicolas Cage buying a $243,000 octopus.
Do we know what year this happened? Because I'd like to take a look at his filmography since then, and then maybe he's onto something.
I don't think so.
Okay.
What are you doing for the weekend?
I don't know yet. It's still so early on the day Friday. It's all still in front of me. I'm gonna go see my buddy Darius Rucker. He has a concert in town tomorrow night at Prior Lake.
Oh, cool.
That's the only thing I know. What are you doing?
We're going to take it easy. We have a granddaughter that's going to come stay with us for the weekend, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
Look forward to that. And actually, I'm going to give you a live concert right now. Come on, sing along.
Here we go.
It's Aloha Friday, no work on Monday. We're going to play today, Aloha Friday. Whatever you're doing, be safe. Have a good time. Talk to you on Monday. Lili Yokalani, Lani, Ani, okay, the coo, and the cock, and the ark, and the hooey, 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 hooey. Aloha.
Man, when you get triple aloha out, you know it's a wacky Friday morning.
Candace was trying to sing along.
I thought I knew the words.
He really did the slow down, that the musical term, the retard there at the end was really, that was very dramatic. Man, that made me happy. By happy, I mean confused. Quick question, and we can dig into some of this a little later in the show if you like, but I just want to throw it out there. Speaking of Hollywood, speaking of the fact that there's not going to be anything produced out of Hollywood for a while, maybe some reality TV, I guess, but who really knows about that? Oh, by the way, here's another tangent. The show Alone. Are we hip to Alone, where they just send 10 people out into the woods and they live alone with cameras?
Oh, yeah.
Another season started recently, and we're recording them. And last night, for the first time, dove in. And I've watched enough Alone. I don't have to watch it to know I'd last an hour. You drop me off in northern Saskatchewan with a bow and arrow and a set of cameras to document it. The first thing I'm going to do is turn a camera on and then call in and say, come get me. I have no survival skills whatsoever. I mean, that's the reality of it.
And for the listeners, to differentiate this from every other show you see on television, this seems to be authentic. I mean,
yes,
they are alone and they are out there, and these are people that are doing the hardcore to survive.
No, it's
this
not.
Isn't Survivor.
They're not joking around.
Right,
I mean, the earlier seasons, you're watching people that lose 60, 70 pounds.
Oh, yeah. Eating rotting badgers. And
they're pulled out against their wishes, and they look like they're a day from death, and they're complaining, and the guys are like, the doctors are telling us we have to pull you out now.
Right. Oh, yeah.
No, it's intense. The show Alone is the real deal. It's awesome. And I'm watching it last night. The one thing that I really enjoy, though, if you start watching it more and more, is granted, every one of these people could outlast me by a factor of millions, and yet I'm watching the first episode going, no chance, no way, that guy's going to win. You start to pick up on who you think, and then I'm always surprised. It's always like the person I think, oh, that's clearly going to be the winner. That's the guy who stabs himself with a buck knife by mistake. Oh, darn, I made this. It's incredible TV. Here's an unsolicited recommendation, man. Get on the Alone tip. It's awesome.
What's at stake? What do they win?
$500,000 is the winner this season.
Okay.
Is it? Yeah, okay.
They take 10 people. They take them to the most remote part of like upper Saskatchewan, almost to the Arctic Circle. Mm-hmm. They drop them off in the fall. So while they're there, the winter comes in.
Yeah.
So they're fishing. They're trying to hunt caribou and bear and stuff. Right. And you get to bring 10 things. So it's like a tarp for which you're going to build your shelter. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have bow and arrows. Some people have, the stuff you make fire with, whatever. You only get like a pack. You get 10 things. Like one guy one season brought like one of his 10 things was some Cliff Bars. I was like, yeah, that'd be me. Like, because you're pulling berries and then you're shooting grouse and you're just trying to survive. Right off the bat, you're like, I'm starving out here. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, there was a gal that I forget what varmint she had killed. It was whether it was a badger or whatever. But you have to store it. You bury it in the ground. There's no refrigeration out there. Yeah. No one's handing you a sandwich. It's you with your camera and your survival gear. And she realizes that it's probably disease because you eat everything. You eat the bone, you eat the marrow, you eat the fat, you eat the teeth. You suck on the
the amount of diarrhea these people endure. Yeah, it's unbearable.
And she realizes that it's diseased. It's got liver spots all over it. So she cuts the liver out and eats the rest of it. Yeah, and just boils it up. Yeah, I mean this is.
What about there was one season
Alone.
A guy brought down like an elk or something. He brought down a large animal early in the season, and he was able to store all the meat. And then one night he wakes up because wolverines are stealing his food, and he just runs out of the tent with a headlamp on, and he's like, it's just me against a wolverine, and he's like, oh no, and he's chasing it, and you're just thinking like, man, this is. And so the other thing they give you is a series of cameras. So you set up a tripod, you walk around, so they're shooting themselves. There's no one with them. They're responsible for all their own footage, and it's totally real. It's intense, man.
Yeah, it's an added ridiculous responsibility.
And so all of this to say, the people that run all of the studios, all the streamers, and all the networks who are freezing out the writers and now the actors, I think they should be forced to compete on Alone. I want to see Bob Iger of the Disney Channel dropped off in the upper Saskatchewan forest, and let's just watch it go, Bob. I got no time for these nonsense. All right, let's look back. How about a history lesson? Whew, it's Bastille Day. On this day, July 14th, 1970, probably the most famous all-star baseball moment ever. Pete Rose just destroyed Ray Fosse at home plate in the All-Star game. The story, it was the bottom of the 12th, 2 outs. Pete Rose is on second. Someone hits a base hit. It's a guy named John Hickman, but no one cares. Rose rounds third, throw at the plate. Ray Fosse is standing there. He's the American League catcher, and Pete Rose just barrels him over like it's Game 7 of the World Series. And Ray Fosse was never the same. He got a separated shoulder, and this was back when it was just 1-year contracts. You were fighting for your supper. He never gave it enough time to heal, and for the rest of Ray Fosse's life, he's had a bad shoulder. It basically really impacted his career. And Pete Rose, after the game, people were like, "Why would you bowl over someone in an All-Star game?" And he said, "Nobody told me they changed it to girls softball between third and home." Okay, Pete Rose, just in case you forgot, such a douchebag. And for everyone who goes, he's a ball player, what'd you expect him to do? The answer is yes, he's a ball player. He's not a horse rounding the bend at Churchill Downs. He's not a greyhound chasing an electric rabbit, for crying out loud. He's playing a meaningless exhibition game. If Pete Rose was the one who ended up with a separated shoulder and a ruined career, do you think he'd still be sitting around going, "Hey, that's baseball, them's the breaks"? I got no time for Pete Rose. Still, he should be in the Hall of Fame. He's a great baseball player.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Friday, July the 14th. The Guess Who? That's a Canadian band. And as I was just talking about with everyone before the show, if you've never seen the show Alone, the new season, they're all up in Canada, out in the woods, abandoned, left to their own devices, trying to figure out how to survive. I would last 41 minutes maximum.
Yeah, that's a long
41
time.
minutes.
Yeah,
the panic would just absolutely take over. And there's so many things. If you watch that show, by the time the season ends, by the time they're pulling people out at the end, they're just in such a gross state. They're just, it's just horrifying. But it makes sense because they've had no running water. They have an electricity. They're literally living off the land. So, of course, they look like, ancient man. They look like they crawled out of a cave by the time it's all said and done. We have no such excuses for why we're as gross as we are. I'll tell you that right now. We're not in the. I mean, I've got hot water. I've got electricity. I've got heat. I've got air conditioning. I've got a razor. I've got all the stuff I need, and yet half the time I just feel gross, and I don't mind. I'm a kind of a gross guy. Yeah. When I'm sitting in a drum kit, until I'm sweating, I don't feel like I'm actually playing yet. I like to work up a good sweat. Zep, you said you're a sweaty guy by nature. You just have Were you one of those guys who, when you'd be playing like pickup basketball, it'd be like, "No, man, take your shirt off," and they'd be like, "No, man, put a shirt back on." There's always one guy, shirts and skins, who's just wet, and you guard him, and his super strength was that you're just afraid to touch him so he could run to the basket unimpeded.
He'll guard you too close.
I'd use it. I'd go into the lane with it. Absolutely. No one wanted. It's a slimy sweat. It's not like being.
That's
wet,
what I mean.
Right? It's a slimy sweat, and I'd like to just kind of splash into them. And then they get back on their heels, and then you pivot around, and the bucket's all yours. Oh yeah, I was definitely use the skins to my advantage kind of guy.
Yeah, that was the Norrid brothers, the two guys in school that they'd take that shirt off, and everybody would give them 6 feet. Both had mustaches in 7th grade. You know what I mean? Just like, dude, what is happening with those guys? They had Corvettes. Their dad ran the Napa store, so they had good cars. They worked on cars and smoked cigarettes and had mustaches in middle school.
That's who I'd be hanging out with.
Wow.
Yeah.
These guys are badass. But there's an article, 7 questions that can reveal how disgusting a person we are. And I think we owe it to ourselves to go down the list.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm just going to start with this. How do you wash your legs? Do you wash your legs? Do you scrub them with soap? Do you let the soap from the upper body drip down? Do you simply shave them? That doesn't apply for 3 of us. Or do you not wash your legs? Like if you're in the shower, do you give yourself a solid long leg wash, or do you just do you figure it's just going to rinse off and be okay?
Really? You leave them be?
Yeah, I don't wash my legs.
You don't put soap on the legs? You don't go up and down?
It comes down,
Trickle down.
You let the trickle down.
Yeah.
Voodoo washing. Voodoo economics. Trickle down. Sorry, that's a Ferris Bueller reference. You know what I do about once a week? This is a true story. This is how unsurvivalist I am. I've got a pair of little pink gloves, loofah gloves that put the soap on and rub and get all that. Not only do I get all the grime off, but a couple layers of skin too, and I feel like a brand new baby when I get out of that.
You're an exfoliator.
I go with the legs, and I go deep on the feet, the heels, in between the toes. It's good stuff. Good living.
I do that. I'll do that that next week after I win the lottery on Saturday, just to hire someone to do it. I think I would do that if someone did it for me. Not
That's
that I'm
the
that
pinnacle.
lazy, but, it takes it from here to there.
Yeah, it's funny. Your definition of the word success over time changes throughout life, and I think I'm going to add. So the key definition of success to me now is when I take an iPhone, I just throw it in the ocean and never get another one.
Right.
I just rid myself of the grid completely. Yeah. But right behind that is I just have someone with those loofah gloves and they just work my feet over whenever I want. That'd be pretty great.
Beyonce's out on tour, and I was just reading she has 31 in her entourage. There are 6 women that she's hired. Oh, actually, I take that back. I saw the photo. It was 5 women and 1 guy in her photo that just are her hair team out on the road. Yeah,
right.
31 in her entourage. That's how I'd spend my money. There'd be an entourage of people taking care of me.
Like in Coming to America. Wipers?
Fantastic. Okay, how about this? Here's another question for the group. Do you find pimple popping videos satisfying?
No.
Ew.
No.
The options are yes, I love to watch them. Nope, they disgust me. Or depends. I'll watch them every once in a while. I should mention, in case anyone's missed this, there is a TV series called Dr. Pimple Popper.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The woman just gets on TV and just blasts through people's weird body orbs, and we watch it.
We've had her on, and she's cool.
You've had her on?
Yeah,
Oh.
we've had her on. She's cool. She's fun to talk to. You want to, just almost not hate her, I guess, but but anyway, she brings it on in a really nice manner, Dr. Pimple Popper.
Right.
But yeah, no, only my own pimples. No one else's pimples, just mine.
I totally get that. It's kind of like babies. Like, man, I love nothing more than my babies, but you can hang on to yours. I don't need to hold yours.
So if I had an emergency pimple and it was the day before the broadcast and I couldn't reach it, none of you guys would step
Oh,
up.
no, Tony.
If I had an emergency
what?
pimple.
Tony's rubbing his hands together right now. I don't know what that
Yeah, I have all the
indicates.
tools that I've crafted myself. Oh, God, no.
Steve's got the pink gloves. Maybe with the pink gloves.
With the pink loofah gloves and some Lysol, we can take care of you.
Pimple popping.
I've got an emergency pimple, and the broadcast is tomorrow. What sort of scenario are you imagining?
All right.
Anything's on the table.
All right, fair enough. How about this? If you're out in public and you got a bad wedgie, do you just take care of it right there, or do you
Yep.
find a discreet place to fix yourself?
Nah.
I'm so bad. I do the front adjustment.
Yeah,
just
whatever
in
it takes.
public. I don't, let it linger, draw
Sure.
attention to it, but I'll definitely do the look over there kind of.
Yeah.
And then get it pointed in the right. Yeah, I like. I'm a-
Candace, what's your
1
wedgie
o'clock
protocol in
kind.
public?
Yeah, I'm cool with it because
Just fix
I
it.
just assume that no one is looking at me, and
Right.
then I just do it. And then even if they do see me, they're not going to say anything.
You can kind of do that movement where you kind of pivot and kick your leg a little bit. And
Oh, there's a lot of
pretend
that,
you're
yeah.
doing a silly dance move.
Yep. Sure.
That wouldn't draw any attention,
There's a yeah, right.
especially if you can't get it and you have to just make one more time over here.
I think
There
that
we go.
guy's trying to shake a cricket out of his pant leg. He must have had a cricket run up there. He's hoping he can get rid of it. I to your point, Zep, I'll go back wedgie, front wedgie, whatever. I'll just make the adjustment and
Yep.
get on with it. Would you take a phone call while you're using the toilet?
Have this week.
Yeah. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you? That's
Right.
what the mute button's for.
Yeah, right.
You got to understand the mute button. You got to have you got to be savvy with your technique. But sure,
Do you use the mute button for the flush? I do too.
yeah,
for that
always,
as well. Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Why interrupt a phone call because nature calls? You can
Right.
take 2 calls at once.
I just take it on. I take it in there with me, and I'm playing solitaire or show prep.
Yeah.
something in there, and why not take the call?
Get that nice echo on your voice.
There is that. How about this? Do you cover your nose when you cough or sneeze? So
I do.
only when you sneeze, only when you cough. I cover it for both. No,
Yeah.
but I try to cough and sneeze away from others. If you don't do that around me, you're going to get a head slap.
Yeah,
Cover the orifice when you're expelling things from it.
yeah.
My kids, we taught them, like you sneeze. I one day realized, like, people sneeze into their shirt sleeve instead of into their hands. Like, I was always, both hands, if I have a big sneeze, cover my face with both hands and then immediately go wash my hands or wipe them off at the very least on something.
Right.
And then my kids, they started, if they have long sleeves, they sneeze into their shirt sleeve. Like that's what they were told to
I
do.
thought that.
Yeah, that's during the pandemic. The problem was they were telling us if we sneeze into our hands, then we touch something.
Right.
Then.
Well, this is pre-pandemic. They were doing this, and I was like, "Wow, I've never seen that." The problem was my son will be sitting there in a short sleeve shirt, and he'll still sneeze into his forearm, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, I think you're supposed to have sleeves on when you do that." He's like, "It's just what I do," and I'm like, "Well, then go wash your whole arm now." It's really gross.
I don't really cover. I do like the whole head bang, so I'll be like, "Achoo!"
And and you just did. Wow, I wish I should have had the video going for that. And I like that you didn't say achoo, you said hachu. You put an H in front of it. Hachu. Isn't that a form of poetry? Hachu?
Yes. How many syllables is that?
That's
Very
fantastic.
dramatic.
You are very, very dramatic.
Second grade, Chris, who sat next to me, had this gigantic sneeze, cupped his hands, sneezed into both hands, looked around, and licked it up.
Sure he did.
Oh, okay. No.
Well, it's just just life as a dog. You just wonder what it's really all about.
He had a teacher that used to tell. We had a Gail Eichstead. She was a booger eater. And he said, it's because, now listen, don't tease her. It's because she's vitamin deficient. Tell your mom to give you a Flintstone vitamin. I'll take care of that right away.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't know if that's it.
No.
But whatever.
Man. I will admit, too, as a youngster, there was a couple of choice, booger eating moments. Like as I'm talking 5 and 6, and then someone said, "That's so disgusting." I'm like, "Oh, okay," and I just stopped. But I mean, when someone points out to you how gross that is, and you keep going, that's a different thing. But then again, I bit my nails until the pandemic. I literally didn't stop biting my nails till I was 54 years old, and I know people who would say that's the single grossest thing you can do.
Yeah, I don't think that. I don't.
That's
I
not
mean, it
so
would
bad.
bother me because when you cut them too short and they get like that little, I don't know, they bleed a little bit. But I don't think that's gross. But I suppose stuff accumulate under your fingernails.
Yeah,
Grunge.
It will. I can tell you this: if you want to really appreciate life, then bite your nails till you're 54. Because suddenly I'm like untying knots and shoelaces like never before. When I finally had nails, I had no idea how much I was missing out on. So many things I can do. Putting a new key on the key ring, it's like way easier with a thumbnail. I had no idea. You can separate that thing and stick it in there. It's fantastic. How often will you rewear clothes before washing? Now, not if you've been working out. We all know that's gross. But if you get up in the day, let's say you have a late morning. You wake up, you sip coffee, it's a weekend, and then around 11 a.m. or noon, you put on a shirt, you go out, you see a friend, you very casually go about your business, you come home that night, you take it off. Would you put that same shirt on again the next day?
Mm-hmm.
Slam dunk, yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't think twice about
On
it
a
myself.
weekend especially.
Right.
Yeah. I know people who if they even try the shirt on and decide not to wear it that day, will put it in the laundry.
All right, that's a glitch. That's something's wrong.
That right? It is, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Right,
So
that you try it on and then it goes in the. Yeah, no, I don't. That's just bad for the planet.
it is bad for the planet. It's also just like, come on, guys. It's just kind of it's okay. It's just your body. Like George Carlin used to say, he was making fun of people who go, I go in the bathroom and I just got to pee, and they're like, did you wash your hands?
Okay.
And George Carlin's like, well, what do you think's down there? Like,
Right.
it's
I'm not
my
cool
own
with
body.
that.
Here comes Candace. What?
Okay, I dated this guy, and he made this argument so hard it was so annoying that if he goes to the bathroom and he pees, he doesn't have to wash his hands. And I was like, well, if you go to the bathroom and you pee, you touch the door, you touch this, you touch your wiener, whatever. Then you come and touch me in private places. No, you can wash your hands like an adult. And the fact that you're arguing about this with me right now is psychotic
Good for you.
to me.
Okay,
Yeah.
first of all, context is everything, Sister Candace. I'm simply saying I referenced George Carlin not because he's in the scenario he's painting. He wasn't about to go touch someone in their private places. He's just a guy in a public bathroom, like at the airport, and someone's like judging him because he didn't put soap on his hands after all he had done was touch his own private parts.
Right.
His
Well,
own private parts that he knew to be recently cleaned.
Candace, I think last week you mentioned something about having sex at music festivals. That's your thing. It's your signature. Yeah,
with
like
several
Moon
people.
Dance Jam. And Now, I wonder, before you got all liquored up and you two rolled around in the KQ urban assault vehicle, did you take a shower? Did you both properly wash up?
Do some
that?
handy wipes in the vehicle afterwards?
Candace's protocol before relations is the same as in a hot tub. Always shower. Always shower right before.
All right.
Splash some Tito's down there.
Well, that works. That does work.
Splash. Oh, my
Just
God.
makes it more fun, doesn't it?
It is organic.
Yeah, it is.
Man, that girl drinks a lot of vodka. Well, she's not drinking it, actually.
Yeah, you know.
She's like 2 handles a night. Now, stop. Don't judge.
What weird and gross things do you or have you seen someone do in public? Pick your wedgie, popping pimples, booger ingestion. It's up on the KQ Facebook page. Or
Of course it is.
Call it in. Text us. 651-989-ROCK is the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and Text line. We also got to get in the story. If I tell you that we have a story regarding a cat pervert, right? I bet right away you went, oh, no. I don't want to, your mind's going to go to a disturbing place. But pause. At 7:30, it's not what you think, but it's a fun piece of audio. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, July the 14th. We were discussing a little earlier all the gross things we do, and Candace is delighted to share the fact that we have a caller who wants to share some information with us about that very thing.
Kim from Gaylord.
Good morning, Kim.
Hi. Yeah, I'm kind of weird.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Her line's going.
My hands are in
Hey, Kim, you know what? We got a weird connection. Hang on a second. We might have to have you call back.
Let me work on the old ham radio here. There's a couple of dials. If I just feel like I should be dialing on something to get her in, right?
Yeah.
Call back, please. That's usually what it takes. That happens to me all the time. You hang up,
Yep.
call right back. You get that good connection.
That sounded kind of like those old movies you'd watch in school as a kid that would have the, just they would get off a little off track,
Right.
and it would be like
Terror on the highway.
Does it? That voice would come on, and you'd be like, "Oh man,
And then
fix that damn thing."
Right, and then the tape would break. The lights would come on, and then the teacher would get the tape out. Shelley once saw a woman huck a loogie into a public drinking fountain. I've witnessed that before. That's what are you
yuck.
doing?
Ew.
Yeah, they don't, it doesn't go down. Right, exactly.
I've seen that happen.
Oh,
I've seen it happen more than once.
Dennis, disgusted by this public show on social media, a woman wearing a T-shirt that made it look like she had a hairy chest. Can you imagine?
Horrifying.
Good God.
Man.
Oh, and Dustin, thank you, brother. High five, backing me up here. The point I was trying to make when it comes to washing your hands after peeing, I wash my hands because it's a habit. But you don't wash right before your partner decides to, go downtown for some fun, when you're all liquored up. We're not so concerned about
Yes,
washing up.
but I wash up often enough.
Often enough.
All right.
So-
Sure.
Everyone's got their own personal algorithm.
Yeah.
They know
exactly.
what works for them.
I saw someone dig in their belly button and smell and then lick it. Thank you, Bruce.
Lick it.
Yeah, Bruce.
The
at
belly button lint lick. The old standard.
the belly button lip lick. It's
Wow.
just fun to say.
I do this thing that I never thought twice about until several people mentioned that it was really weird. And it was just something my mom said. I watched my mom do this one time, and I was a kid, but I remember it like really impacting, like, oh, this is what you're supposed to do. And it was very simple. Basically, at the end of the day, when you remove your sock, you just rub your finger like in between all your toes. You just clean out the gunk in between your toes, if there is gunk. And if there's not, if you just do that a few days, you get used to it, and then it becomes impossible to remove your socks without doing that. Just take your index finger in between each toe, like a little scratch type of vibe. I've been doing that my whole life. And then at some point, someone was like, what do you do that for every time? And I was like, I didn't even know I was. But now, and I've gotten to where I don't do it now, but then I turned into, okay, I do it, but then I got to wash my hands. And it was always like a thing. But it felt like one of those life lessons. And and I know if I said that to my mom, she'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? I did that once. And you just happened to see it.
Did you lick it after?
I never licked it.
Well, that's good.
But I did have a thing one day as a kid. I remember one day I picked there was like lint in my belly button or something. It was just like, ew, and I kind of cleaned it out. And I had been feeling kind of nauseous, like similarly. I mean, just had an upset stomach. And within a moment or two of cleaning out my belly button, that feeling went away. So I thought there was a connection.
There might be.
And I was like, oh, my God, I figured this out. And then the next time, whenever I was sick, I was like, oh, I got to remember to do that. And then I tried to clean my belly button out, and nothing happened.
Yeah, kind of like...
Very disappointing.
You thought it might be like being constipated, that feeling of relief when you finally coming out of unplugging the belly button.
I thought it was a medical breakthrough. I thought I was going to get a call from Johns Hopkins thanking me for my research.
I constantly now check the belly button, not, obsessively throughout the day, but a couple of times a week or whatever you do it, I suppose, when you wash. But I remember being, I don't know, well into my 20s when someone's like, belly button lint. What now? What are you talking about? The lint that gathers in your belly. What? I've got an innie. And then I pulled out, like a big wad of lint. It was like the size of my fist.
No, it can build up.
Nearly that big.
It can build up.
You wear flannel shirts a lot. That contributes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that cotton.
I'm going to go ahead and, speaking of getting a congratulatory call for my medical research, I'd like to give a congratulatory high five to a kid named Jake Walleri. Who is he? Well, he's just some dude from Ohio. He's a student at Ohio State University, and he and three friends were just down in the Everglades. They heard that there was a python hunt going on, and they thought, well, let's go see if we can find one. They did. It was 19 feet long. They've pulled out the largest Burmese python ever registered in the Everglades. And there's a video of them capturing it. I just saw this link on the Washington Post has an article. 1 a.m. driving around, see what looks like a log in the road, but then it moves. And this guy goes after the snake. He gets it around the throat. Gets it, at the base of the head. A friend then shows up with electrical tape to tape its mouth shut. Long story short, 19 feet long. That is a hell of a lot of snake.
Those rednecks down there are having all the fun. They usually do down there in the South. I found when I started hunting in the South, I'm like, they got stuff down here in the Midwest. We're just shooting whitetails. What are we doing in coyotes? Come on, man. But, yeah, you can really get your redneck on down there. They are incentivized by there's a bounty.
Oh, hell yeah, there is.
Yeah, on pythons down there, and they're everywhere. So, like we used to go out, I remember between Little League games, we'd go out and find pop bottles in the alleyways around those little small towns we were in there. And
sure.
You get yourself 15 cents, and I don't know, I might have bought you an ice cream treat. What am I talking, 1944? But anyway, now they go out and these kids are finding pythons, for crying out loud, and they're getting paid for it. That's just fun.
Yeah, boy. You can't catch enough snakes to keep me happy because it's such an invasive. I mean, pythons have totally thrown the ecology off of the Everglades.
Yeah.
They're a complete mess. Just because some idiot thought it'd be a cool pet and then it hit 8 feet and he's like, it's too big. I'm just gonna let it loose in the Everglades. Well, they reproduce like mad, and now they're just running. They're running the joint. So yeah, the more pythons we get out of there, the better. That's the way I see it. I'm an anti-snake guy. That's just how it's been my whole life. That's never going to change. I don't need you to tell me, no, they're really good because they take care of the land mammals. And I don't care. I'm fine. Let the snakes do their best. I just don't need to see it. Right. It's the sight of a snake that winds me up. There are very few animals I like seeing about in my life. I live traditionally in urban environments. I like to see dogs. I occasionally see a cat. Cats are funny. I have indoor cats, so outdoor cats are an endless source of fascination to me. Like, how do you know it's going to come back?
Well, you don't exactly. The kiddos, Charlie Chocolate Chip, just a big, he's like a bobcat almost, just one of these big toms. And down in Prior Lake in their neighborhood, and he would get out all the time. Sometimes he'd bust out a screen. This cat was a brute, And he would disappear for a week or two, but he always came back. And then there was a little controversy in the neighborhood once when another little girl came down, and Sydney was out in the front yard with Charlie. And she goes, oh, that's Star. That's our cat. Sydney's, what now? She's like, that's our cat. It comes to our place all the time. We feed it. We play with it. It's our cat, Star.
Yep.
Oh, there were dads and moms meeting in the street. And no voices were raised, and we figured it out. But Charlie spent most of his life outside. He still has a bullet in his chest because some scumbags were running around shooting cats in the neighborhood at one point.
He took a slug and lived to tell the tale?
He had an abscessed tooth, so they took him in. They're like, it's going to be $800 to save his life. And then I started with he's lived a good life, you know, kids. And
right. Yeah.
There's tears, and their mother going, you animal.
Yeah, right.
So I ponied up the $800. They took the X-ray, and they said, he's got a bullet in his chest. And suddenly I was like, $800 well spent. This warrior has a bullet in his chest. He's a vet. So he's worth saving. But he was an outdoor cat. He was one of those cats that just roamed. Who knows what he was doing out there?
It's just so strange. The idea of the cats just leaving. I mean, I just, in my mind, it's like, because to your point, someone else is going to get him. Someone else will feed him. He'll just get bored. He'll wander off. He won't miss us. I need my pets to come home.
Yeah.
That's my kind of vibe.
The ladies in my neighborhood are always out there calling for their dang cats.
Can't call a cat.
Yeah, right. The cat's like 6 feet away, laying under the stairs or something, going, "Shut up."
Well, so now what's the story though? We've got there's a little bit of audio.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it earlier. You said something about a cat pervert.
I almost didn't click on it because I don't want to hear. We go for the really look what we've been talking about already this morning. We like to go there, but I don't want with people harming animals sexually. I just can't take it. So I almost didn't click on it, but then I did. I thought, well, for show purposes, I better get to work.
Yeah.
Not at all what you think. This is one of those outdoor cats that gets out and gets into the neighbor's yard, and you can see why a neighbor might not like that. However, the people who own the cat go over to this guy. It's a bachelor, just living in his house, and start accusing him of not kidnapping their cat, but not kicking it out of his yard, and then accuse him of being a cat pervert. Listen to this kooky audio. No, he's just a single dude living next door, and this cat shows up in his yard every once in a while, as they do, whatever, and then the couple comes over with this reaction.
You're upset because we made friends with your cat, sir? No, I'm not. I'm not even in my yard right now. What am I doing? The gate's open.
You're unreasonable people. You're holding our cat.
How? I'm not even in there. I want you to explain how.
Go in your yard and say, Mercury, go home. Don't come in our yard anymore.
She will not listen. She's a cat. She doesn't speak English.
This doesn't mean go home?
No.
Huh?
Hand signals don't mean anything. It's a cat, dude.
Really? Okay. Cat pervert.
I've done nothing to bring this dude. He's lost it. He's lost it.
You know what? There's a crime about you harboring my cat.
What crime is that?
God.
What crime is that?
It's called harboring an animal.
I can understand being angry if my cat was in your yard. You're angry because your cat is in my yard.
You could just send my cat home.
No, I can't. I don't speak cat, dude.
You can't send a cat home.
No.
What a lunatic.
And then he gives him the hand wave. We'll get the...
Hold on, cat. You say cat pervert. I mean, I'm of a certain age. I go right to Eartha Kitt. I have a whole different mindset.
Hey, now.
So now,
Julie Newmar.
thank you. So hold on a minute.
Yeah.
The guy is literally saying you can tell him to go away. You don't say Mercury leave. The cat owner thinks a stranger can make his cat bend to his will.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And then they're the crazy couple, and you're losing an argument when you just start, chanting something weird over and over again, like the cat pervert line right here.
She will not listen. She's a cat. She doesn't speak English.
That's a good
Really?
line.
This doesn't mean go home?
No.
Huh?
Hand signals don't mean anything.
Hand
It's a cat,
signal.
dude.
Really? Okay. Cat pervert.
I've done nothing to bring this dude. He's lost it.
Oh, jeez. Hey, your neighbors.
That's my new out. Whenever you guys are getting long-winded, I'm just going to start screaming cat pervert.
Cat pervert.
Unbelievable, man.
Cat pervert. Well,
Man.
I know this kid. It's called a for sale sign. A realtor.
See, again, that's why I have indoor cats. I just don't want to ever be accused of. I don't want to be accused or make the accusation of there being a cat perversion situation in the neighborhood.
The owner has actually attempted to use hand signals for their cat.
Yeah.
They assume that you can do that.
Right. They just, how you do with cats. I love if you looked at a cat and said, Mercury, go home and don't come back here anymore. Yes. Really?
That is strong.
Wow. Isn't that good? All right.
Fantastic.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Gotta pay some bills and play some tunes. The KQ Morning Show will be back. 92 KQRS.
Well, that was wrong.
Wow, what happened?
Sorry. I don't know. Sometimes things happen.
What happened?
That was crazy. I just started talking and someone else started talking, then we were all talking.
Something happened.
Radio's fun. It's Friday. It's July the 14th. This is the KQ Morning Show. We're also going to speak with Darius Rucker. He's kind of a big country star these days for the last long while. I met Darius Rucker when he was just playing in a band from South Carolina called Hootie and the Blowfish, and we all went, what kind of name is that? You're never going to go anywhere. And then they released an album, and it was the biggest selling debut album in the history of Atlantic Records or any other record label.
Did he get tired of people thinking that he was Hootie?
Yeah, before you'd ever heard of him, that was already over. He's, oh man, what were we thinking? But anyway, he's an awesome dude. He's playing over Prior Lake tomorrow night. REO Speedwagon and Leonard Skinner are there tonight. It's a big weekend in the Twin Cities. If the smoke doesn't get us, we will have a fine time. Air quality alerts are out there. The whole upper Midwest, not to mention just the Twin Cities, getting still. Seriously, how big is Canada? Aren't these fires done yet?
It's the
kind of a trick
right?
question. Canada's pretty big last time I checked.
Damn big. It's that Arctic Circle up there as the glaciers and the Arctic Circle is receding. You know, our forest down here and the forest in the lower half of Canada, we've learned over the years to do some conservation, get in there, clear out that brush so those forest fires aren't so bad and nasty and out of control, but not way, way up there. And those forests are dry and they're experiencing a drought. And you have the storms up there with the lightning. And those suckers could burn for years up there.
Yeah, it looks like that's exactly what's going on. So anyway, the next couple days, if you've got any sort of issue, if you've got asthma or if you are generally sensitive to poor air quality, be careful because they're saying today and tomorrow, as today rolls on and well into tomorrow, we're going to have some dodgy air. Tonight at the Lakefront Music Fest, you've got Skinnerd and REO Speedwagon, and tomorrow night, you've got Darius Rucker headlining the event. Darius and I go back a couple of minutes. He's a good man. He's on the phone with us right now. And Darius, the reason I wanted to talk to you, as a lifelong Dolphins fanatic, you know about Brian Flores. He's the new Vikings defensive coordinator. How do you feel about the Vikings defense this year?
Oh, Flores is he's a great coach. He's a great. So I think the Vikings defense is going to be vastly improved this year under Brian Flores.
I thank you. I've been saying that since the minute they hired him. All is well in Viking land now. How does a kid from South Carolina grow up a Dolphins fan? Tell me that again. What happened?
Oh, good. I was 5 years old, and the Dolphins were playing the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, and
okay, yeah, right.
We were having a party, and my whole family was there, and I asked everybody who they're pulling for. They all said the Cowboys, so I said I'm pulling for the Dolphins.
Attaboy. Yeah, I'm a Lakers fan because they were playing the Baltimore Bullets, and I was cheering against my older brother. It was just that simple. That's how
I get that. I totally get that.
Yeah, that's how that works. So you're playing the Twin Cities Prior Lake tomorrow night. First time you ever played a gig in the Twin Cities. Do you remember it?
Oh no, man, that's a long time ago. That was like 30 years ago or something. I don't remember that at all.
Okay, I'll answer that for you. Oh yeah, it was the best gig of the tour. We loved it up there. It was just outstanding. So would that have been pre-Cracked Rear View, or did you think you got up here before that album came out, or not until after?
Oh no, it was after Cracked Rear View came out.
What's the farthest Hootie and the Blowfish? How far out of the southeast were you guys riding before that album?
We were playing in New York.
Okay.
And you know, up north like that, but not far out, not out west at all.
I was just listening. We just played a 38 Special song, and I thought I'd ask you this. Did you guys ever play? Did you ever cover 38 Special?
No, never covered 38 Special. Covered a lot of bands, never played Hold On Loosely, though.
Yeah, because a band from Georgia called Mr. Goes Garden one night started to do it as a joke, and about midway through we were like, the song's actually pretty great. Damn, some good tune there, fellas.
Yeah, it is a good song.
So it's funny because people say like you're obviously, with good reason, you're a country star now, but I don't think of you as a country guy. I don't think of you as anything because you've just played every type of music known to man. You've always sung kind of everything. You go from funk to rock and roll to whatever. When you're putting a set list together for a festival tomorrow, if you're thinking about covers, you still swing a pretty wide. You go out to all directions, don't you?
Oh yeah, our covers are out there, and I love that. You know, like you say, play everything, man. Just pick a song. A great song is a great song, no matter what genre. So yeah, we play everything.
What's the latest? Where's the handicap right now?
It's a 2.
2?
Yeah. Exactly.
Phew.
I just ask you that to piss everyone listening off.
First of all, you've got so much talent, really, in golf as well. That's rubbing it in, I think.
Golf's my thing, man. I play 5 days a week, so I get good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, 5 days a week. Are you sure about that?
Okay, sometimes 6.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy who once told me, no, I play 6 days a week. I make myself not play 7. Okay.
I do. I have to make myself not play. You're absolutely right.
You ever play with Alice Cooper? I just hear the two. I bet you have. Yeah, he wrote a book, I think, about golf.
Oh, Alice can play, man. He's really good.
Best golfer most surprising great golfer you ever played around with?
Most surprising great golfer I ever played around with this guy Dustin Lynch, who is a country singer, and it shocked me how good he was. It truly shocked me.
Really? Your level, or are you saying he's better than you?
Oh, he's better than me. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
He's great. He's better than me. Great player.
All right, fair enough. Worst sports injury you've ever suffered, what was it?
I jumped off a stage and blew my knee out. I'm going to call that a sports injury.
That's a sports injury.
Yeah.
Insurance will cover that.
Where was that? Where did that happen?
We were in Greenville, We were in Greenville, South Carolina. And it was about a 12-foot stage, and I decided I was going to jump off it. And you heard my knee snap. You heard it snap. It was so loud.
Did you know it was 12 feet? That's quite a plunge.
Yeah. I was drunk. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're taking that as a given in this situation.
Yeah.
How many shows this year? Ballpark. How long are you out for?
50, I think, is the number. 50 or 60, somewhere like that.
That's a good number to get to, man. Perfect.
Good year. Man.
Not too many. More than enough, and not too many. That's where you want to be.
Exactly.
All right, so tomorrow night, Prior Lake Music Fest, Darius Rucker. I will speak from personal experience and say it's well worth your time. You're not going to hear a better singer all year long. And I'm not saying that because, we're buddies. I'm saying that because that's a fact.
Well, thank you, brother. Thank you very much.
And some of us, I don't know how many, I'll let you know, but we're going to be out there. I can't wait to see you.
I can't wait to see you too, man.
Darius, it is always a pleasure, brother. Thank you.
Wait.
Candace has a question.
I have a song request.
Okay.
Beers and Sunshine. That's my favorite song ever.
I promise you, I'll play it just for you.
Yay. Thanks, Darius.
Wow. It's that easy to make people happy. She's grinning ear to ear. The magic of Darius Rucker. All right, brother. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
I'll take care, Steve. Peace.
See you.
A 2 handicap, really? I was just out at the range yesterday, so I'm a little salty.
Yeah, no, that's real. That's real.
Yeah,
good guy.
For him.
Here's something I can tell you about Darius Rucker. He's the exact same dude as he was when I met him, and there's never been a moment in the middle when it got weird. Yeah. And I'll say that as I got weird. Everybody gets weird when you go out and sell records and tour around. You go through some patches. I've never known him to go through that at all.
We used to, I don't know if you ever had to make any of these calls, but new artists were forced to call radio stations by their record labels and talk to, it's usually passed around, so often you wouldn't get the lead singer or something, but I took a couple of them where they're like, hey, Zepp, you take that call. I was the music director at another radio station in this town many years ago, mid-'90s, and Hootie was blowing up, and we were playing, I had 3 other singles every 15 minutes, I believe, on the radio, and I called up and, hey, man, I just want to thank you for, playing our songs and that sort of thing, but just nice, genuine dude back then, so.
Salt of the earth, truly. And again, by the way, he's the kind of guy you'll hey, man, did you see that game or whatever? And then he won't answer for a few days, and he'll get the answer back. Sorry, man, I was at St. Andrews.
Okay. Andrews,
yeah.
Well.
Sorry, man, I was playing golf in Spain. Didn't see the text. All right, cool.
That's all right.
Yeah, right on. All right.
Sitting in my living room, remembering when we were friends.
That's exactly right. Hey, the 92 KQRS Rock the Boat 80s party, in case you haven't heard, sold out, baby. The only way on that boat is to win tickets, so keep on listening for your chance. There's another week. It's not till Friday, July 21st. There will be more tickets given away between now and then. We're going to be out with paddleboard riverboats launching from Harriet Island in downtown St. Paul for a night of drinks, free food from Lucky's 13 Pub, live music from Rough House. If you do join us on the boat, keep your cats at home. Do not bring cats. They might end up leaving with someone else, and then we're going to have a whole nother cat pervert story, and we don't want that.
I've done nothing to bring the.
So great.
Yeah, no cats, but if you do wear your hairy chest swimsuit, I will buy you a drink.
You think there's a lot out there?
I do, and if you just want to wear your own hairy chest.
I was just going to say, yeah.
No, literally, there's posts. So, okay, I posted it on the KQ Facebook page of me wearing it at the State Fair in 2017, and truly offended a lot of people. I'm sorry about that. People are up in arms about this, really thinking it's real. It's not. And then there's like 4 girls who posted themselves in this same exact bikini because KQ chicks are awesome.
Yeah, they are awesome.
Hold on a minute. I am returning to that page. I have to see this horrific sight with my own eyes.
It's awesome.
All right, well, you track that down. Also on the KQ Facebook page this morning, Candace posted the grossest thing you've seen, done, that sort of thing. And here's another KQ listener, female, that we just dig. No one else is going to read this because you have good taste. You're respectable people. However, I'm not. Lynn writes, hey, gang, just wanted to bring up manscaping. I had a guy that wanted me to shave down there. I don't shave down there because I have a hood ornament. Every time I shave my legs, I always cut myself, so there's no way I would shave down there. With my luck, I'd rip out my hood ornament. Candace, do you know what she's
It's a piercing, right?
Yeah.
piercing?
Got to be the piercing, yeah.
Wow.
Love listening to your show. Thank you, Lynn, for checking in. Yeah, you leave that hood ornament alone.
I'm at a loss. My job is to speak, and I have no words.
What if it's the big bulldog from a Mack truck?
Okay, seriously, man. I'm just trying to get the weekend off on the right foot,
all right,
and you're giving me way too much to think about.
Well, here's something to think about. We've got a story coming up here at 9 o'clock. Among other things, I think we're going to announce our gas winner in a year of free gas in the 9 o'clock hour as well. I know.
Yes.
That's happening. And then this mystifies me. What's wrong here? We have an attractive doctor, a woman.
Okay.
Beautiful woman, seems to have her act together,
right.
And she's unmarried and is willing to pay anyone $5,000 to find her a husband.
Oh.
There's got to be a catch, right? All right? We'll dig into it here at 9 o'clock. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, July the 14th. We are rolling along. In about 30 minutes, we're going to announce the winner of the Free Gas for a Year contest. Holy smokes. Someone is about to be really, really, really happy. Make no mistake about that. We might very well not be so happy because we've been talking about really gross things all day, and we have a caller who wants to add to the conversation, I believe. Candace.
Tom from Duluth.
Tom, good morning.
Good morning.
What's going on, brother?
Well, just working, driving.
Very good. What's on your mind?
Well, I worked in corrections for 18 years. I'm recently retired. Now I drive a shuttle bus.
All right.
And we had a coworker that I started with at the beginning. He was in my class. He was 10 years older than I am. But he retired a few years before me. And we always had a problem with toenails and fingernail clippings everywhere in our perimeter truck, in the office. And we found out it was him.
Right.
Well, that's not only disgusting, but just recently, to top it off, my wife calls me from work because she works at the same place. Says, you got to go look at the Hennepin County jail roster. And here's this guy that I've known for the last 18 years, carpooled with him, helped him move. He's up for murder.
Oh, man.
From a murder in 1984.
Well, anyone that doesn't police up their clippings, their nail clippings,
It's a sign.
Right.
So wait, he's up for a murder that happened almost 40 years ago, and in the interim is the time you spent with him?
Well, yeah.
Working in a jail.
Working in a correctional facility.
Well, sometimes there's a fine line.
He slipped through, but DNA tagged him.
Man.
Wow. Was this something that happened in Minnesota?
Yeah. We knew it was serious when the bail was $1 million.
Oh. Yeah. I wonder if it was DNA from a toenail clipping.
Sure. Yeah.
No kidding. He left a toenail behind at the murder scene.
I'll tell you what, if I ever find myself looking down and saying, oh, I shouldn't have murdered that guy, I'm going to have my toenails removed just so they can't pin it on me.
Good advice.
When we found out it was what the police or the reports that we read were a burglary gone wrong.
Yeah, that's way wrong.
He had to have been about 27 years old because I was a junior in high school when that happened.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, it's funny. I knew it. I had a friend in college who would bite his toenails, not his fingernails. He would sit there and bite and chew his toenails.
Just envious of the flexibility.
Yeah, he was just. Right. It was just like, you're sitting in a dorm and everyone's watching a ball game in the lobby TV because this is back before you could watch stuff anywhere else. And yeah, it'd be like, come on, man. He's like, what? What's the big deal? And like, oh, that's your way to get attention.
He kind of said the same thing. I said, no, it's disgusting.
Yeah, it is. It's the kind of thing murderers do.
When I got to wipe them off every seat that I sit in.
Okay. I mean, how? Yeah, was he clipping every day? I mean,
Well, I said, you got unlimited growth on your nails.
Just no shortage of vitamin E in that man's bloodstream, apparently. Well, hey, thank you for the call, and thanks for sharing the great news with us.
All right, thanks.
See you.
I wonder if your college roommate was obviously he'd killed someone, Steve.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I better follow up. He wasn't a roommate. He just lived in the same dorm.
It reminds me, though, I had a buddy that was a guard over at Oak Park Heights. They have a big correctional facility over here, Steve. One of these maximum detention kind of deals where the serious criminals go. He said when they left the cafeteria, they'd have to check them out sometimes. Guys would try to get contraband out of the cafeteria. One particularly big, huge, obese guy. All right, he wasn't allowed to take it. They had him on a diet. He was so obese, and he wasn't allowed to sneak food out. Yeah, but he figured a way around. So they had to check under his fat flaps on his body. He would stick hard-boiled eggs under there. How's that for disgusting?
It'll cook up. Too, while they're in there.
Yeah, get them
So from toenails left everywhere to smuggling food in the fat flaps, if you want to gross us out, 651-989-ROCK on the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and Text line. Yeah. Food in the fat flaps.
Food and the fat flaps. Maybe they were just raw eggs when he put them in there, but they would hard boil up. I don't know. Here's Kristen on the KQ Facebook page. I watched a lady pop a zit on her husband's back while eating breakfast at a restaurant.
What?
No.
Good Lord, she said with a T. Good Lord.
The only way that's even remotely possibly acceptable is if you were on an island and you were in a hammock and you were like at a restaurant that's kind of already, it's right on the beach and everyone's like barely clothed anyway, and you've already had a few caparinas, and I mean I'm just trying to think of what possible context is that even close to acceptable.
I don't want to investigate it any further.
It was on a restaurant patio. I don't know if it makes a difference that it was outdoors. No, not at all. Well, and this isn't even on the KQ Facebook page. It was a week or two ago. I'm talking with some friends that live down there in Carver County. I won't mention the place, but they said, we love this bar over here, but we can't go there anymore. I said, what'd you do? We didn't do anything, but one of our friends crapped his pants in the restaurant everywhere and trying to get to the bath. I guess it was just everywhere. So they don't feel like they can show their faces. I get it. That was recent.
There's a guy who used to clip his toenails in the studio here. He used to work here.
What is it with that?
Not very disciplined.
Well, I mean, what would he? And you know that because you saw him do it.
Yeah,
did he put them in the trash can or did he leave them?
Leave them. Unless there were some collectors here.
That's a weird thing. Now, obviously, when I clip my toenails, I use them for dental floss because that's normal. Sure. But to leave them out, that I don't actually.
Or you can use them for mosaic art. That's not weird.
Mosaic art. Okay, getting back to the serial killer storylines of the day. Candace, do we have another caller?
Mike from Brooklyn Center.
Mike, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
All is well over here, brother. What do you got for us?
Awesome. I have an individual. She had her nipples pierced.
Okay.
And she had crusties from it. So she took the crusties and then ate it.
Okay, well, so much for fun.
The crusties?
Yeah, crusties, I don't know, from not cleaning it.
Yeah, sure. I've not experienced nipple crusties, but I did sit through a friend's unfortunate nose piercing gone awry, and then it got infected, and then it just never ever came back around. And there were a whole series of there was scabbing and bruising, and then exfoliating, and then more scabbing and bruising. And at the end of it, he finally said, "I just got to stop with this thing." And he just looked like he'd been attacked with an ice pick for like 6 months, and it finally healed up.
Ouch. Ouch.
Ouch.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
Scott, just this week at a YMCA locker room, saw a guy using a hand dryer to dry his junk. I've witnessed that myself.
Oh, like a blow dryer?
Yeah, blow dryer on the junk.
Oh, yeah, there's a certain age at every YMCA where I think it's around mid-60s where guys are like, screw it. I've got to make sure that we have an arid environment down there when I put some pants on, and they'll just go right to not the handheld hairdryer, but not a hairdryer, but the hand blower. Like they'll bend over.
Yeah, it's mounted on the wall.
The thing that's mounted on the wall. I've seen that, and I'm like, boy, at what point do you just let go of everything that's keeping your dignity intact?
Let it all hang out.
Yeah,
man,
gotta get it in, man.
Yeah, that's rough. There's just get some baby powder, man. Does the same thing. Or here's a weird thing: just use your towel.
No, it's not the same. I do this, but in the privacy of my own home.
Well, sure.
Not every time, but if I give Gigi a bath, then I'll like blow dry her, blow dry myself.
Gigi is your dog. That's not a euphemism. Just in case anyone's just tuning in for the first time.
Everyone gets blown.
Okay, everyone gets blown. Again, Candace, easy. It's a morning show.
Dang it, that ought to be a law.
I'm a weird girl.
Sorry, I was washing my Gigi and decided everybody should get blown. That's what I heard her say.
I never regret diarrhea.
Gosh.
I never regret diarrhea. I hate you, Tony.
You're quotable.
Wow, you're really on a tear right now, Candace.
Oh.
Is there another caller? Or are we just going to continue to hear your bizarre stories?
All right. Greg from Prior Lake.
Good morning, Greg.
Good morning, crew.
What do you got for us, brother?
I was a little kid, but not a drunk adult.
Okay.
Back about 7 years old, driving with my father to my grandparents' house. My sisters had a habit of sucking her thumb and her other fingers up her nose, and she'd pull the boogers out of her nose and smear it on her top lip and then lick it off.
Gross.
And I'm sitting there looking at it. You are so disgusting. And then my father would stop at the drugstore on the way to my grandparents' house, get a bottle of Tabasco, pour it on her fingers, and so her fingers tips are full of Tabasco, and he looks at me and says, "Give me your fingers." I said, "Dad, I don't do that. Give them to me anyway." So I'm sitting there with Tabasco sauce on my fingers in the back car seat with my sister, driving to my grandparents' house, looking at my sister. You son of a bitch.
Memories.
Yeah, why do you get pulled into that? Dad, what are you doing? He's just going nuts with the Tabasco.
And I think she still sucks her thumb and eats her boogers.
Dad, I'm not the one who eats my boogers. I'm the one who constantly pokes myself in the eye. Tabasco sauce.
I don't think that would deter me. A booger might be all right if it had a little Tabasco on it.
Well, I hear it's got a lot of protein in it. People are in survival. Like you say, people that get dropped off, they actually can eat their snot and boogers.
Have you seen any snot eating on the show alone yet, Steve?
I haven't seen that, but I think there's a definite link between the kind of person who thinks it's fun to be alone and then who would justify that. They would turn the fact that they like to eat their own boogers into there's a lot of protein in there. You know, it's like, yeah, that's great. And I'm sure there's protein in cockroaches too, but I'm just going to have a salad.
Either that or you could have that beaver or whatever that with the liver that's all diseased and eat that.
Oh, yeah. The lady, again, that was on the show alone we talked to earlier that she had, I forgot what it was. Yeah, it was something like a beaver or a badger, something like that. Some varmint that she had killed, and it was diseased. She found spots all over the liver and decided to eat it anyway.
Yep.
See if you guys you get more disgusting than the boogers on the lip and lick it off.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope from A to diseased beavers around here. Trust me. Hey, thanks for the call, brother. We appreciate it.
Hey, Candace, when can I get back on the morning show? You kicked me off the other day.
Well, Greg, we got to give other people a chance.
I was thinking about that. I've only won like one prize.
Well, we'll get you in next time, okay?
Candace, kick him off the show. Kick him off right now. That's enough, Greg. I've heard enough of you.
You and your...
I've done nothing to bring the...
I'm glad he just, was commenting on my work and not other things,
Your mucus
That's
issues.
what you're here for.
Yeah.
Man.
I had a cousin who would pick his nose and wipe it on the TV screen.
Oh.
On the TV screen? What's the point of that?
And giggle.
That's a prank. That's not, it's a gross prank, but that's, the old, it's like we used to do that with friends when we all started driving the parking, filling up the school parking lot with cars. That was a thing to go hawk one or give the old farmer blow on someone's window. It was funny. You had to be there.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's funny. It's hilarious.
We haven't had no one's talked about lighting farts yet. Should we head down that road right now?
Oh,
Candace?
The phones are going to light up because those people are just waking up right now. They're just,
actually, now that I say that, the first time I ever saw someone do that, which does happen, and it's a real thing, the first time I ever saw that happen was at Canadian Immigration. We were waiting to go. We were at the border at the Ambassador Bridge, Detroit to Windsor, Ontario, waiting on the Windsor side, and all sitting in a room, and there weren't enough chairs, a group of us, and so some of the guys are sitting on the floor, and one of the guys goes, "Hey, give me that lighter." And we're just all waiting late at night, and he just backs that lighter up into position, and you would have thought, I thought he was about to explode in flames. It was so, I'd never seen that in real life before, and I was astonished to find out it's real.
Oh, it is a thing. When I was in the service, Trini Gonzalez, very hairy battle buddy of ours, tried it and caught his hair on fire. He had to sleep with a wet washcloth between his cheeks. That burned.
Trini.
Sergeant Gonzalez.
Do we have another caller, Candace?
Adam from Hastings.
Adam, good morning.
Morning.
What you got for us?
Another quick one from the local Y, and an old gentleman filing his skin on his feet. Must have been after he was swimming because there was just a pile of skin underneath the seat he was sitting on. Brand new carpet too. Didn't care. He just left it there. It was just. It was a pile. I've never seen so much dead skin.
This is why we stick old people in homes to be with each other. You're too gross for the rest of us. God, no
Brand
respect.
new carpet.
Yeah, right. If it was a kid doing that, there'd be an old guy going, God, you have no respect. Brand new carpet doing that kind of. Go home and do that. But yeah, old guys in gyms, they don't give a. Those are the guys, you're right, Steve. They're drying their junk off with the hand dryer, walking around without a towel for like a half hour. I'm like, what do you live here? Get out of here.
What?
Yeah, that's no good. By the time filing your feet is even a thought, you need to be. You got to keep it at home, man. What are you filing it with? Like, what is that? What is the tool?
Oh, he has a pair of pink loofah gloves, if you can imagine.
Well, now that's perfectly acceptable. Don't get in the way of me and my pink loofah gloves. But again, in the privacy of my own home.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's appropriate.
It's like Candace with her diarrhea. She loves it, but she doesn't like to do it out.
Right.
I love diarrhea.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Friday, July the 14th. And, if you've been listening as of late, and I'm sure many of you have, you know that we had a contest where we were giving away some free gas and then entering a bunch of people into a competition for free gas for a year. Free gas for a year, baby. We are almost set to announce the winner of that very competition.
Yeah.
Free gas for a year.
Amazing.
Yes.
I know. You know what I would worry? When I win the lottery on Saturday, it'd be kind of the same thing. People wanting to mooch. I'm just thinking, what if like a 21-year-old guy wins it? You know how many mooch buddies you have at 21? I was a mooch buddy at 21.
Sure.
One of my buddies wins free gas for a year. It's like, hey, man, no, let's take my car. I'll drive this time. Oh, it looks like we're on empty. You don't have that KQ free gas card on you, do you?
baby. I went to Daytona Beach, Florida in 1986 for spring break. A week in Florida, from Kentucky to Florida and back. Me and two guys piled into his tiny Honda car at the time, which back then was getting like 50 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
I left the state of Kentucky for a week in Florida with $32 cash, and I bought the first tank of gas.
Yeah.
So by the time we hit Florida, I was closer to $20, and I had a hell of a week. I truly had I under $25 when we got there, and it was 6 nights and 7 days of college bliss, because it's amazing how far you can coast on charm sometimes.
Simple pleasures.
But you don't have to coast on fumes if you got free gas for a year. And Candace, correct me if I'm wrong, our free gas winner is on the phone right now.
Yeah, he is. He's stoked.
I would imagine so. Good morning, Bill.
Morning.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Free gas for a year. Do you have any wild plans? What the heck do you do when you're not paying for gas?
I don't know.
We can come up with some suggestions, probably. I'm just saying. Yeah. So that is outstanding. Were you, did you think you even had a chance? Did you give it a second thought? Was it a complete surprise?
Complete surprise. I just, I never won anything for.
Yeah, man, you got to plan a road trip now. Where do you want to road? What's kind of a dream road trip for you? Like, I've always wanted to drive to anything.
I just bought some property up north and stuff up by Duluth, so I'm going to be doing quite a few road trips up there.
Rock solid.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
Yeah, that's great.
Fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. So, what word did you text in that put you into this competition? What was your keyword day? Which was that? Already forgotten.
I can't even think of it. Yeah.
First thing the guy ever won, he doesn't remember the word. All right. Well, the word today is winner, and Bill, that is outstanding. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Enjoy those trips to Duluth, brother.
All right. Thank you.
You got it. You got it.
Lay some rubber, You've got some gas to spend. Just lay some rubber.
He's excited.
Or, Steve, you mentioned you went through a short Prius phase, just trying to save money on the gasoline like we all like to do. What if maybe go out and get yourself one of those really economic, I don't even know what the high end is now. I drive a truck. I'm part of the problem. But maybe you could stretch it out to, say, a year and a half of free gas.
I guarantee you there are people who would be like, you say you got free gas for a year, and they would go the opposite direction. Well, then I'm going to get I'll get as much as I need. I'm going gas guzzler.
I just let it run all night long.
I can just light some things on fire.
Yeah, why not?
That's very true. Free gas for a year. Does that include the auxiliary tanks as well? That'd be great.
Yeah, right.
Hey, speaking of driving and going up north and stuff, the KQ Morning Show is hitting the road for a long weekend. It's KQ Up North with BigDeck.com, October 5th through the 8th at Craigan's Resort on Gull Lake. You can join us for a broadcast of the KQ Morning Show. Woo! You can join us for a karaoke party. Yeah. You can join us for a happy hour boat cruise with live music. Book your stay right now at 92KQRS.com. Sponsored by BigDeck.com and Craigan's Resort on Gull Lake. That's going to be fantastic. Candace, do we have another caller?
Yes, we have John from Oak Grove.
John, good morning.
Good morning.
What's happening? We're great, man. What do you got for us?
Well, I got a couple of them, but my good one is... back in the 80s, I had this girlfriend that just loved popping zits.
Well, I'm sorry, what age?
Oh, I was in my early 20s.
Okay, yeah, that's a good age for zits still. You're still producing them, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well, I had this big one on my back one time, and it was right about eye level for her. And
here we go.
Oh, I want to pop it. And I'm like, okay, fine. So she goes to pop it, and that damn thing was a squirter, and it squirted right in her mouth.
Oh,
okay.
My God,
All
that's
right.
the winner, folks.
Ain't love grand.
And did she go, yum, baby? Did she give you one of those?
Oh, my God.
We have peaked. We have hit apex grossness for a Friday morning. Thank you, sir. Well done. Well played. You said you had 2, and we're going to cap you at 1. We appreciate the call. Man, that is...
I don't know where you go from there, right?
No, you know where you go from there? I'll tell you where you go. You go for this story quickly, just because it's interesting and we do talk true crime. Apparently, a serial killer has been arrested on Long Island in New York. They've been looking for someone since 2010, a series of bodies found, and today they got their man, apparently. They brought him in. Massapequa, New York is where the gentleman is from. Fun fact, as is Jerry Seinfeld, as is Billy Joel. No word on which one of those two guys is the serial killer.
No kidding. Listen, this guy had been on the special Gilgo Beach Homicide Investigation Task Force for at least a year. He was arrested after being linked by DNA. This guy was on the task force looking for himself.
Way.
This is a Dexter deal, kind of. He's a
that's got Seinfeld written all over it.
Right, absolutely. So was on the investigation task force for at least a year, it says, and was arrested after being linked by DNA. Oh, this guy. And then you see him and you go, oh, yeah, serial killer. But then you see him in his suit and you go, oh, yeah, all right, he just could be anybody.
Man, that is, oof.
10 women they suspect.
Oh, Lord.
And they brought they're hauling the cooler out of the house.
The cooler's never a good sign.
No, there's a body in there.
There was speaking of arrests in New York, there's a photo that hit the internet years ago. And I always said it was my favorite ever. It was my favorite Black Crowes photo. And it wasn't of the Black Crowes. It's of a Black Crowes fan, or at least a guy wearing a Black Crowes T-shirt. He's in handcuffs. There's an officer holding each arm, and he's looking at the photographer as if to say, I'll kill you next. He's very angry. And we saw that picture, and I always laughed, and I thought, he's probably at the parking lot of a concert, or he was just out at a bar somewhere. And then the word hit, no, he's a drug dealer who had buried a bunch of bodies in his backyard.
Oh. Wow.
And it, just sporting that Black Crow shirt was like, okay. Never mind.
One of yours.
That's not my favorite band.
Nice
That's
to
not
know
my
you're-
favorite band picture anymore. It was a rough one.
Yeah, dang, that's nasty.
What are you going to do?
Well, your music inspires.
It does. You know what? I'd like to think you bring out the best in people, or you at least give them the choice. You like that? You're rocking? What do you want to do? What's that music make you want to do? What are you going to do with all that energy?
Yeah, speaking of, did you see the Bryan Adams show? Was it a night ago? This hooplehead that rushes the stage
I
during
did.
Summer 69.
And a guy jumps up you see the guy climbing on stage, and Adams has obviously seen this a million times. He sort of backs away. I have no qualms about the red shirts just really working someone over when they do that. That's so not cool, man.
Yep, that is so not cool. And I can't imagine, being a performer on stage. You were talking about people throwing stuff on stage. You can't see it. All of a sudden, I'd be real touchy up there.
You got no idea what's in someone's mind. And
right.
I tell you what, man, we had the greatest ever fan block of a fan going crazy, which was also the worst ever. Sometime in the 90s, we were playing a gig in California called the Santa Barbara County Bowl. Beautiful outdoor venue. And we're on stage, we're doing our thing, we're rocking, we're sweating, we're giving the people what they want. And a girl, like a hippie girl, looks like someone you'd see twirling at a Grateful Dead show. She jumps up on stage and she gets right next to our singer, but she's just dancing. And he makes the determination, this is not a threat. It's not cool. It's interrupting my flow, but he's not too worried about it. So he just kind of turns and steps away from her, like turns his back. That's what he would do. He would never encourage people to get on stage. He turns his back to her, which is his way of saying, look, no, just get out of here. A security guard on the side of the stage saw this happening, and he comes running out, and his plan is just to, all in one fell swoop, he's going to scoop her up and just not break stride from left to right across stage, and when he'll pick her up and just keep on trucking.
Mm-hmm.
It's a perfect plan, except that right before he got to her, she's 5'4", 5'5", 110 pounds. He's 6'5", 310 pounds. He tripped.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
And I kid you not, he pancaked her into a cement stage floor.
Yeah,
She disappeared under him. And when he stood up, she was not unconscious, but she was woozy and looked flattened, like a child can smash a finger and it flattens for a few seconds. That's what she looked like. She looked like she had been smushed in a waffle iron.
Whoopsie.
And the whole, we didn't stop playing, but everyone all but did. We're like, oh my God. Like everybody on stage froze, and we're all looking, and then he stands up and the guy's totally panicked, but then he scoops her up and then just carries her off stage right to the paramedics backstage. I never got the full story of what happened, but it was the worst. And to his credit, the guy felt so bad.
Well, yeah, sure. Especially since that's a move. That's like their move, man. They do the scoop and get him off the stage without impacting the show.
You would have thought. You literally would have thought he was Lawrence Taylor and she was running for the end zone. I mean, it was brutal.
And those two are still together.
Right. I bet she woke up sober and felt like a Mack truck hitter.
I don't doubt that at all. On this day, July 14th, 1970, Pete Rose, playing in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, very famously scored the winning run in the bottom of the 12th. By doing so, he collided with catcher Ray Fosse at home plate, and he hit him at full speed as if it were Game 7 of the World Series. Ray Fosse was never the same. It separated his shoulder. It greatly diminished the rest of his career. Pete Rose at the time was asked about, it's an all-star game. Why did you have to barrel into him? And he said, nobody told me they changed it to girls softball between third and home.
I see. All right. Yeah, I've never watched an interview. A great baseball player. All right, let's set that over there for a second. I've never watched an interview with him ever over the decades and thought, oh, there's a likable guy.
No, that's not what he was here for.
No.
He was not here to be likable, and he's not, and no one likes him, and that's how that goes.
The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.